I was watching a video yesterday and it was about just sort of coming into your own, like showing off yourself, how we've discussed many times, just being the authentic you. And one point that was briefly touched upon was how we can find our flair. And if you had asked me before, really thinking deeply about what is flair for me as a footballer, as someone that enjoys football, flair, you've got like this skillful trickster players and they show off an exuberance of confidence about themselves. And that was sort of my idea of flair. What I've come to realise though is that there's a lot of further, deeper roots of flair that we can bring out in our lives. Also, can I just say, the weather this week, compared to last week when it started all rainy and horrible, this week it's been unbelievable. Got the sun in me. Yesterday I didn't go on my walk, and I really should have because the weather's been great. What is flair? Sometimes we think, is it, like I said, the confidence, our creativity, or our unique actions? Like I said before with football, the skiller. Flair's not just about standing out, it's about how you are undeniably yourself. You can have, like I said, the loud, expressive flair, or on the other side, complete other side, you can be effortlessly kind. You see it, they're the ones that are quiet, but you know that every time you talk to that person, that they're just going to be so lovely to have a conversation with that you'll want to keep having it. We have to embrace what makes us unique rather than forcing ourselves to fit into a social dynamic, which we've also discussed a couple of weeks ago. How we can't force to fit in, we just have to be ourselves. When we're younger, we we have flair, so much flair. We don't care. We love life. Nothing goes wrong. We don't have any responsibilities. But we lose it without realizing as we get older. When we are kids, we're 100% ourselves. We feel, think, and dress how we want to, unless, like me, your parents match you with your siblings. So you've got summer photos where you've got the same gear on, and it's like, do you know what? It looked good on me. Just crop my brother out here, and it'll be all right. As we get older, we dim our own light, and this is due to social expectations and sort of the need to want to be accepted. We have to trade, or should I say, sometimes we trade being our unique self for the safer option, and that shouldn't be the case. How can we relearn flair? We have to unlearn hesitation and what's made us sort of hold back. We need to start beginning to speak up again, take creative risks, carry a further confidence in ourselves. And we don't need to be different for the sake of it. We just need to sort of fully own who we are. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just be the most authentic me possible. And what it is if you carry yourself with this flair, like eventually you'll just be so confident that you're not going to care what other people think of you. But also, if you just fully embrace who you are, you'll just be so much happier about it. On the other side of this, though, with the fear, we could fear being too much for a social dynamic. The main obstacle in this, though, is the fear of judgment from others, where we could seem too extra or be overly confident, overly loud, and sort of, like I said, be too much for a certain dynamic when really in that situation we don't need to. We don't want to stand out for the wrong reasons. However, if you move with style, you leave an impression. And by this could be what you're wearing, your confidence that you're exuding, how your whole demeanor, people are excited that you're there. And having this style and sort of suave mannerisms, as I quite like that word to be fair, I've used it before. Being quite suave, like you leave that impression on others, especially if you've just met new people, and you come with this first impression of yourselves, and they're like, I want to talk to this person again. It's not about being the loudest. It's just about how you're speaking to someone and you're sure of yourself. Because if you're sure of yourself, if you're like I put down here, if you're sure in your own source, then people want to continue speaking to someone like that. You don't create flair. We need to sort of drop the filters and be our authentic selves. We need to trust our instincts and move in the way that we should be moving rather than in a way that we think we should be moving, which is always going to be the wrong way. Which is also trying to follow someone else, follow patterns that might work, but they're not effective in terms of how we want to be authentically ourselves. I was also looking at it from the other side of how can we have flair and aura? And like, are they the same thing or are they completely different things? And what I found out is having flair and aura is about balancing external expressions with internal presence. So what I'm saying by that is that you're standing out and carrying energy at the same time. People with both flair and aura, they're not forcing anything about their lives. They're not forcing how they are socially. They own who they are, which is what we discussed before. They own who they are. And what you ultimately come to realize is that the glue between flair and aura is our own charisma. And the quote I've got here is, your presence draws people in. That's your aura. But your expression is what makes them stay. Flair. So what we've just understood there is that our presence and our expression, they're two completely different things. But if we put them both together, we initiate these meaningful conversations with people. We announce that we've got these flair to people. And the way that we're talking with them, they want to stay in this conversation so that we can have something meaningful. They can see the flair we have, they can see the aura we have, they can see the confidence we have. Everything that makes us sort of, like I said, we don't have to be loud here. We're doing this all sort of on thing. We can just show how effortlessly kind we are, and people will like that nonetheless. And the thing is, they won't be thinking about how this is your flair. They'll just be thinking about this as sort of like your personality or something like that we've touched on before. But it all comes into one, where if we know that this is our flair, then ultimately people will enjoy our conversations with us more.